Hello there, how are you all doing? If you're a regular of this channel, you're probably thinking, where's that Sasquatch gone? Well, he's taking a day off. I'm his bolder twin brother. one of my subscribers, she's got a channel, Mrs. Collins she's called, lovely lady. She reacts to TikTok videos, and she said, "I look like Sasquatch," and I went, "Ah, Sam Squatch, perfect." So I think that's sticking. So Sam Squatch is gone for a bit, and regular me's arrived again. This one's going to be a difficult one because the topic in question is going to be extremely difficult for many people to take in. This video may be very distressing for a great number of you, and although I wouldn't normally say this, if you are easily distressed by depictions but not visual, just textual, like depictions of torture and executions, this probably isn't the video for you. I'm going to talk about something that's little talked about at all, gets pretty much no coverage, and it's happening right now. And this is the persecution of Christians across the Middle East and Africa. The reason why is because I'm essentially sick and tired of people talking about Gaza and calling it a genocide when it's not. But I'll show you some footage at the end from a channel called Pallywood that actually documents all of the stuff that they share on things like Snapchat and on Telegram and on Signal and on WhatsApp of what's actually going on in Gaza. Not the bullshit that they spread everywhere else, that you're all fooled by. They're doing this because it hides what they've been doing in Syria, what they're still doing in Pakistan, in Iran, in Iraq, in Nigeria, Sudan, in Mozambique, Libya, Lebanon still. Christians are being wiped out. There's an index. A persecution index. And the one on Christians, it has 3 levels of persecution, which are high, very high, and extreme. And high is quite extreme anyway, yeah? Torture, but getting released, having houses taken, being displaced, moved out, chased out. To extreme, where they're being literally beheaded publicly, being flayed, being boiled alive, being just horrendous things that being done to Christians in several countries. Out of the top 10 extreme, 8 of them are in the Middle East. 7 of them, sorry. The other 3 are Pakistan, North Korea and China. In fact, North Korea and China are the top 2, believe it or not. That things like this are going on. But the rest of them are all Muslim countries. This isn't to bash Muslims, right? This is just to give you an idea of what is going on in these nations. They are usually of the the Shia faith, Wahhabi in some cases, very fundamentalist Islamic nations, the vast majority of which are run by Islamic State or their affiliates, yeah, or Islamic State sort of like chapters around the globe. They're being killed in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands. In fact, I think the tally so far of all of them in every single country in the past 6 months is reaching about 600,000 or 700,000 Christians. Churches are being burnt down, families are being set on fire in their own homes, churches being set on fire with people in them. There was, I think it was Christmas in, I believe it was Nigeria. Someone walked into a church, locked the doors behind him, and then blew himself up after shooting loads of people in there and killed everyone inside, obviously. That was like 200-300 people. It is estimated that there is one Christian dying every 2 hours in Nigeria. That's one every 2 hours in Nigeria. 365 days a year. 7 days a week. In places like Syria, in Yemen, which is even worse, they're between 4 and 5 an hour. That's in 6 months. 6 fucking months. This is men, women, children. And the kind of brutality that they're stating is being waged against the Gazan people, which again isn't, when you actually see the footage that they share themselves quite happily on other platforms that are supposedly private, but a lot of people have infiltrated them now. You will see an actual genocide. This whole Gaza thing is to distract you from what's going on. And this has been a thing since the Crusades, by the way. They're a bit angry that we kicked them out of Europe. And have been for 1500 years. This clip I'm going to show you next is back from a guy called, I've forgotten his name, some Ibrahim. I'll put it across the bottom. I always do this. Should know this by now. But he's excellent. He actually does a report every month on the persecution of Christians being genocided everywhere. I highly recommend you actually subscribe to his channel. Seems like a very nice guy as well. Excellent historian. His presentations and his interviews on the Crusader era are just exemplary. They really are. Anyway, sorry, it's a bit depressing. You'll find a link to my Telegram page as always, with PDFs and links in a research starter pack that's linked down below. All right? Okay, thanks a lot. See you later.
For my baby, and hope one day I will escape this terrible ordeal to attain my peace and freedom. My family and relatives have sworn that they will not allow me to see the good sunshine until I surrender my Christian faith and return back to Islam. But I am praying for God's intervention to escape and to join my husband once again. I need prayers. Yeah. All right. So her story basically is after she had converted, she left her family home in March of 2024, married this Christian man, and then they managed to remain hidden. Typical story until August 6th, when 6 of her relatives barged into their home. They started beating her and slapping her, and then they just spirited her away. And now, according to last reporting, that's still what's happening. She and her child are trapped in a house, no food, and being periodically beaten. And this, in fact, is one of the prescribed forms of punishments for apostates in one of the madahib, one of the schools, the 4 jurisprudence schools. Some, of course, say kill the apostate outright. But some of them, I think the majority say if it's a woman, she should be trapped and beaten until she sees the light, comes back to Islam. Moving along, then there's Pakistan. Pakistan probably offers often in these reports that I do the absolute worst anecdotes, like really despicable stuff and depraved things. And they often are, the chief thing is preying on Christian girls and women, abducting them, raping them, sometimes selling, turning them into prostitutes and making money off of them. Or the lucky ones are forced to convert and then married to their abductors. And more often than not, the judges, the police, the entire, all the authorities, even if it reaches a court, they all side with the Muslim habitually. And they forge fake birth certificates saying the girl's older, she's not 12, she's really 18, things to that nature. And they forge conversion certificates saying that she did convert to Islam of her own free will, etc., etc. That, I think every month there's about 3 or 4 of those stories. Okay, every month. But in this particular month that I'm reporting on, one report that came out said that minority prisoners, especially Christians, endure systematic abuse in Pakistani jails, based on a study that was released on August 15th. They're forced to drink water out of toilets. They're not given toilet paper. They're forced to clean themselves with their hands and then wipe their hands on the wall. But then the report also found that Muslim prisoners, including those in jail for murder and much worse crimes, are given normal drinking vessels and toilet paper, etc., etc. As the report notes, quote, once the religious identity of prisoners becomes public, officials treat them, the Christians, poorly, assigning them menial tasks and refraining from offering them the remission in sentences that are offered to Muslims. And then proof of this came in another August report, and I'll just read to you the quote. Nabil Masih, a 25-year-old Christian from Lahore, died on July 31 after years of neglect, abuse, and lack of crucial medical care in prison. At 16, Masih was accused by a Muslim of posting a blasphemous image on Facebook, allegedly insulting the Kaaba, Islam's holiest site. Police quickly arrested Masih under Pakistan's blasphemy laws, and they even had the image removed to prevent unrest and rioting, because once Muslims hear this happens, it's not enough to arrest. They go insane and just burn and destroy and kill Christians. Okay, and there was a very notable instance of this that happened 2 or 3 years ago. The name of the place is slipping my mind right now. But something like 30 churches were burned and whole villages of Christian homes were torched, and thousands of Muslims rioted and thousands of Christians were displaced. And it was all because of some rumor that a Christian insulted Islam somehow. Okay, but to continue from the quote, so after they arrested him and removed the image so Muslims don't riot, and by so doing, they erased the only evidence that could prove whether Masih had posted it. So in 2018, he was convicted of blasphemy and thrown in jail for 10 years, becoming the youngest person ever convicted under these laws in Pakistan. He spent 4 years in prison, mostly in solitary confinement, facing fear, threats, and mental distress until he died. Okay, so remember what I told you. You hear these statistics. Here's what happens. Here's a young guy, who he was what was he? 16. Okay, when he was arrested because he supposedly insulted the Kaaba of Islam. And look at how quickly and horrifically his life was destroyed. Okay, he spent the next 9-10 years suffering in jail without hope of anything, probably drinking out of the toilet and using his hand to clean himself, and then he finally died. Okay, and I already mentioned to you the constant abduction and rape of Christian girls and women. But according to an August 25 report mentions one briefly, it says, quote, a Christian girl rescued from a Muslim who abducted her said he forcibly converted her, sexually assaulted her as part of a sham Islamic marriage, and forced her into prostitution, just like I was telling you. The forced prostitution resulted in serious health issues for the 16-year-old girl, whose name is withheld as a rape. Okay. And when this happens, by the way, in Pakistan, I'm not reading that to you right now, but basically everyone makes clear that the reason that Christian women are being attacked and Christians are being accused of blasphemy is because they know that they're infidels, and they know the government itself is not going to help. It's going to turn a blind eye, because why would it bother with when it has the same mentality. Pakistan is one of those many Muslim countries where even its educational system is well known to preach hatred in its curriculum.